Welcome to the Voices of Young People podcast, brought to you by Springtide Research Institute. In each episode, we hear directly from young people as they respond to our research and share about the issues impacting their lives. As sociologists and researchers, we see a new story unfolding for young people, one that moves beyond traditional institutional boundaries and requires careful attention to the inner and outer lives of emerging generations. At the intersection of being and becoming, it's the Voices of Young People.
Hey everyone, my name is Marta Abawaji. I work in community engagement here at Springtide, and I'm so honored to have this conversation today with Abdalla. I think you're going to gain a lot of insight from it, but be sure to keep listening after our conversation wraps up, because we will also have a tip where you can apply research from work life to your own setting, your own context, and that tip will come from our executive director, Dr. Josh Packard.
Hello, my name is Abdalla Ali. I'm a 23-year-old, I live in Massachusetts, though I call Iowa home, Iowa City specifically. My family and I originally came from Sudan. I was born in Saudi, long story, but I'm Muslim. I'm an engineer in research and development at a bioprocessing company and really passionate about medicine and medical technologies. I studied biomedical engineering at Northwestern University in Chicago. And I'm an avid runner too, so I'm looking to run Boston Marathon someday. It's one of my life goals, so yeah.
Oh, that is rad. I love knowing that aspect as well. So we have an engineer and a marathon hopeful. Have you ever done a marathon, or would Boston be your first?
I've done Chicago Marathon, and Boston is one that you would have to qualify for, so that's like a goal that I would love to try and achieve. So
yeah, I know that one is extra competitive or tricky to qualify for, and it's so esteemed and well known. So okay, crossing my fingers for you that goal is achieved sooner than later. But I'm really looking forward to this conversation, Abdalla. Thank you for joining us today. So you said a little bit about the industry that you're in terms of biomedical engineering, that you are an engineer yourself. So you're already newly in the workplace, you finished undergrad. What sort of characteristics would you say are ideal for the workplace setting? And this could be something you've already observed or something you haven't unfortunately observed and you hope would be there.
That's a good question. At first, when I heard the question, I think about in the context of COVID. But for a work from home environment, you can go one way. But just thinking of a space where that's very conducive to work, that's very easy to collaborate with your teammates or your coworkers. But in in the office space, in the lab space where I usually work from, in a normal setting, I think it's very, very important to make it so that there's a lot of variety in the thinking of the different employees, so that my coach who in high school, who was a big inspiration for me in terms of engineering and running, he talked about the greatest thing about engineering is that it's bringing multiple people from different backgrounds, diverse backgrounds, to come together to solve a problem in our society, in our community, whatnot, or solution. So for a problem that we have, and so I always think about that and what's conducive for that. Just a place that that's comfortable to a level where there's no distractions, not too comfortable, right? But that where you're able to just work most productively, most efficiently with the people around you, and actually work together to get something done. So and thinking about it more too, it's just a place that's also takes into account the backgrounds of every individual that's involved, and for example, having a wellness space or some sort, or having a place for as a practicing Muslim, place where I can, take time to meditate or pray, and allowing that time for that too within, and having that flexibility for whatever the needs are for the person, just so that they can meet, those needs. So yeah, a place that where those needs are attended to, for each individual within that group, within that team. I think it is conducive for a productive team. So
super helpful, both of those examples, like a place where people can be highly collaborative, but also not have too many distractions. I hear that in the highly collaborative. And I would be curious about if you have any ways that you've seen that done successfully through the challenges of COVID, where everyone's working from home and it's harder to collaborate in those ways. But I also really appreciate your acknowledgement that I don't think you use the word inclusion, but that's what I hear is being upheld for your own experience as a practicing Muslim, to have a space for meditation or prayer, and acknowledgement that, yeah, there are going to be a few times during the workday where I'm going to want to access this space. And for that, maybe for you not even to have to ask for that, for people to already be really mindful to build that in. I'm just thinking back to an episode that some of our listeners might want to go deeper on that idea with. In season 2 of the podcast, we talked to a young man who's finishing out undergrad named Abdalla, who is also a practicing Muslim. And he talked a lot about how companies could be more mindful with their religious holidays, of saying, not everyone celebrates Christmas. So maybe I could work on Christmas so that I can have Eid off after Ramadan. Or it brings up, while prayer space or meditative or wellness space, like you called it, is one consideration, it makes me think of other considerations of inclusion for all different employees. So I just want to reference that for some of our listeners, if they want to put your recommendation almost in conversation with Abdullah's recommendation.
Thinking about the social aspects of work, for example, in our work, when it was in person, we would have speakeasies as our only social networking opportunity. And not being able to drink alcohol and stuff like that, it's just it kind of excludes me and some other people, but not just in this industry, but in many industries, many different fields. And it's just finding ways to try and have social networking events, just beyond that, and those activities, or something else. I think it's something maybe to consider as well. But yeah, just a thought.
That is super helpful feedback. I think it goes back to the inclusion piece.
Yeah, exactly.
That you were saying earlier, in terms of not everyone partakes in alcohol, for example. So
exactly.
What other spaces, what other locations or activities would be mindful of that, so that it's not only one outlet or one social convening. Can I go back to that COVID question? If there is anything you've seen done in work from home life that still allows you to have that highly collaborative problem solving approach that is so key to your field.
I think it's been done to varying levels of success. So we utilize these different communication tools such as Microsoft Teams, Skype, what have you, to communicate. And we're able to be productive in getting maintain our productivity and just directly communicating with people. We're often very siloed. So I don't understand the when I'm reaching out to someone, it's not someone that I'm seeing, so I'm just asking them directly for a question. It's hard to get that human connection with it. It's just hey, my name is this, I'm trying to do this, can you help me with this, or can we work on this together, or something like that. It's not having that face-to-face conversation or face collaboration kind of takes a little bit away from it and makes it a little bit more difficult. But in my team, we've been trying to offset that by having more time just to relax a little bit, to have more open conversations, whether we'd have small like meetings for team synergy, as we call it, whether we just sit down and just like talk about the different projects we have, but also talk about things outside of that too, and just bring more humanity into it. But yeah, it's something that's very, very important, because instead of you're just messaging someone and that's the only like connection that you have with that person, you're like either talking, so voice calls, or you're having the camera on and actually like trying to communicate with them. So yeah, it's not a perfect solution to being in person, but it definitely does help more than, and we try to take away from that feeling of being siloed as much as possible. So.
Oh, yeah. That's super helpful example. And for people who might think, oh, are people just going to think the team synergy stuff is just dorky or unwanted? I'm hearing from you, at least, that you find some value in that, because like you said in your own words, it gives you that human connection instead of just, I'm productive, you're productive, here, we collaborate on this. We get to still be collegial and friendly and hopefully build rapport and other connections beyond the specific project at hand.
Exactly. And that would maybe help for future projects, whether they have some more insight that can be useful future projects, instead of, someone that just, you're not even seeing their picture or anything, you're just messaging to some person. You're actually like, talking with them, and that might be helpful when down the road, for example, if they need some help with something and they can remember you in some way, and to reach out and stuff like that. So it helps in the long term and the short term as well.
Yeah. It's still helping the overall productivity of the company or ultimate goals, but it sounds like it's nurturing you in some way to be like, I can't be with my colleagues in person, but here's how we're finding some meaningful ways of connection. And that's what a lot of our research in work life explored. We really wanted to understand, how are young people finding meaning at work? Are they looking to find meaning at work? And we did learn that a high number of young people want work that aligns with their overall purpose in life. So I'm curious about your own expectations or hopes for finding meaning, a sense of meaning within your work setting.
I guess to just to go back, just to better explain the work that I do. I'm a product engineer, product care engineer at my company, and so at our company we provide machineries and assemblies and solutions for pharma companies, for therapeutic companies to develop new medicines, vaccines, therapies, and to produce them as well in a larger scale. And so my group works to create solutions for products we have in the market, and whether it be redesigning it or solving solutions that our customers are facing, that are found on the field. And we look to, we work with the perspective, our team mission is our efforts will improve and save the lives of patients by the way of solving problems for our customers. So that's just to give a general background into the work that I'm doing. And I think that's very important when I was considering, the type of work that I wanted to do. Ever since I was very little, my dad has always been telling me about, the virtues, both religious in this life and in the year after, about medicine and helping people, and those ways of contributing to society. So that's I've always been very, very into medicine. But then, in high school, I started taking engineering classes, and I came to discover that, I can apply science, which I thought was, a little bit trivial, kind of cool, but a little trivial, and apply it to solving problems in medicine, to develop new medicines, to do more than just, be a doctor or something like that. So that's kind of the path that I took, is that, I want to be in a position in my life where I can help people through science, through engineering, and developing medicines or solutions for people. And so some of that idea it's been changed a little bit here and there, but it's really retained. I've really retained that value, and that's what I look for when I'm trying to do my work. It's what inspires me to keep working, or to it inspires me to look, at the jobs that I do look at, and the, type of career that I do want to take, and the directions I want to take as well. Like, it's always back to that point of, how can I achieve this goal? Like, how does this help me achieve this goal of, serving, and through science, and helping others. So, and it doesn't have to manifest in one position. There's not just like, or through any one type of a job. It's always just, does this job allow me to do that type of thing? And also just with the understanding that, my life is also outside of my job as well, that I can also make those contributions, or those type of contributions outside of my work. Or find meaning outside of my work too. So it doesn't have to be just 100% through my work. But yeah, I'm sorry, I've lost track of where we were.
No, that was super helpful. I mean, you were able to paint a strong trajectory of being a younger kid even, and seeing this potential for your work, your vocation to help people. And for that to, you said, yeah, it's maybe taken a few different turns, but the essence of like wanting to help people in the realm of medicine at large, it sounds like that has been consistent and that has been retained, and that no matter what the specific problem is in front of you, for you and or your team, that having that reference point in the back of your mind it sounds like it's a centering or guiding force. Because
it keeps me grounded in the work that I'm doing, and finding purpose in the work that I'm doing, no matter what it may be. Like the research, for example, that I was doing at my university was very different than the type of work that I'm doing now. But they're both, one was in tissue regeneration and looking at how to engineer tissue to help injuries or to solve different conditions that people have. And this is more of in the mechanical side of things, in the manufacturing side of things, trying to figure those solutions out. So, but they both retain that simple thing of, is there some place where I can contribute to helping others in some way through medicine. So
I mean, rad work, even when it's in different spectrums. And like, thank you for doing the biomedical engineering work that we don't even think about happening. I think in the past year, society is thinking about it happening behind the scenes a lot more because of the desire for vaccines to address COVID-19. But this sort of behind the scenes biomedical engineering work, whether it's with tissue regeneration, whether it's more on the mechanical side, like you said, presently, all of that, helps keep people hopefully healthier and with more options as medicine continues to advance. So that's really cool that even when you have a tough project in front of you, that maybe you get bogged down in the project, that there is that grounding element of like, okay, this is why I do this. Even
exactly. It's the bigger picture to it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
I lost my train of thought. Sorry. What's I going to say? I apologize. I forgot.
No worries. Let me know if it comes back to you. But I'm curious about bosses and supervisors and managers. This could be someone you had in the university setting when you were doing that tissue regeneration research, or it could be someone currently in your company or through any past internships. Is there something you've experienced where you could say, okay, that person cared about me as a person? They weren't just concerned with what I would produce as an employee. And this is what they did. And maybe if you haven't experienced that, what would that ideally look like or feel like? Because our research has shown that a lot of young people desire to have their boss express direct care for them as a person, and to feel that and know that, not just from the organization, but manifested in a specific person. So I'd love to hear any examples you have.
Yeah. So, for example, my academic advisor was also the PI for me in my research, and he was very, very helpful in guiding me throughout the process in my research, and thinking about my life outside of just the research. He would ask questions about how am I doing and everything else about me. We'd have other conversations as well, and also talk about career and how this impacts that and what to look for in the future. And so he's been very, very great in guiding me in those ways. Has been also like a type of mentor for me. So I've always appreciated that from him, and it's someone that I can always still contact. So I appreciate that. And I don't think it's for me personally. I don't think it has to manifest in like that a boss has to be like a mentor. But just to have like some sort of niceness, some genuine care, I think is important. But like not necessarily like they have to be a mentor. They have to reach those levels of personal connection. But I definitely think it's important to have someone that can understand your situation and make work easier for you to do your job. Whether it be, for example, accommodations, whether for disabled bodies, or for in terms of faith practicing, being able to accommodate like this is a space for you to do these things, and having understanding of that, just understanding the background and being culturally conscious and literate. So those are I think are very important factors, or very important characteristics of bosses or managers, and that they're just looking out for you as well. So in that way, and just making it so that you're able to do your job or do what you need to do, and not be a source of of a pain point or something like that or prevents you from being able to do what you need to do. So just being understanding of the work-life balance within the work as well, I think is important. So,
those are great concrete examples. And what I'm hearing is care is demonstrated in, yes, asking how someone is, but also care is demonstrated in bosses, supervisors doing the work themselves, in the sense of being culturally competent, like you said, providing accommodations, not just for religious spaces, but accommodations for all different disabilities. And that connects really well with another episode we have in this series from Tatum, who she identifies as functionally blind and is really passionate about disability justice. So your example of being inclusive of so many different identities, she brings to light even more fully. But it's really cool that without even knowing that's something that you're recommending a boss could be cognizant of intentionally implementing. So great recommendations. You brought up work-life balance a little bit, and I'm wondering if you've ever experienced people be like, "Oh, you're young, you can work all the time." Just because there's a common, I think, idea that older employees need to be concerned with work-life and balance because maybe they have more caretaking roles, or whatever creates that assumption. Do you feel like you get to be a part of that work-life balance conversation? And if so, how do you think workplaces can also help young people foster and value a work-life balance?
I believe work-life balance is important at any age. And I understand that, for example, as we get older, we have more responsibilities like having children or etc. If we, or having someone else in our lives, for example. But no, I believe it's understanding that, work is not just your, like, it's not your life. Like you have a life outside of work, and like, what does your life outside of work look like? And does your work impede into your ability to have a life outside of work, or to have your life be greater than that? I've heard a lot about, I have different friends, or even in some, like in cases for some me, like, you would have company cultures that would that would hammer in, the idea that, oh, you need to work all day to, in order to like achieve this thing, in order to take it to the next level. And like, while yes, as younger people, we definitely do have more of the energy, like the strength and to do that, I still think that your well-being is very important, and your your mental and physical well-being is very, very important, and that it's a responsibility that you have for yourself to maintain that, and not make sure that, yes, I can work more, but not to the point where I'm hurting myself in a chronic way, whether that be a physical or a mental thing. I think work-life balance is regardless of, at one point it may manifest in different ways, for sure. But it's still something that needs to be considered, no matter where you're at, in your life. It's just, even if you're very passionate about your job, if you really love the work that you're doing, still need to understand that you can't be, it would go to a point, like, you can't put everything into it where you don't have anything beyond that. And like, when you're, you have a day where you're not able to work, and for example, you're very, very sick, to not force yourself to try and work through that. I think it's because it's not going to just affect you that time, but it's going to affect you down the road too. And so it's just some things to consider, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm hearing a combination of like personal responsibility to know your own like boundaries with work life, and an expectation for workplaces to be mindful of that for people in all different ages. Like you said, it's going to manifest differently in different stages of life, but that it should be prioritized for all, not just like, oh, the young are fine, they can work these 15-hour shifts or whatever it might be. So, yeah. Okay. So you mentioned at the beginning that you're a runner. That's one hobby. And you've said also in the conversation that, yes, you find meaning at work, but you also want to find meaning outside of work. So I'm curious, what sort of activities, hobbies, passions, projects, or even communities provide that sense of meaning for you in your life overall, beyond work?
For sure. There's definitely multiple sources that I take into account when considering like my life outside of work. First of all, like, I recently got engaged. So my fiance, thank you. So my fiance, for example, she takes she's part of that, and being able to, having someone else to focus on, and have a part of your life, and to get value from, it's very important. And I would say, like, there are multiple communities that I love to contribute to. Obviously, being a Black Muslim, being a Black Muslim, I value those identities and the communities that I'm a part of from that. I'm a Sudani from Iowa City, and we have a large Sudani community there, unbeknownst to a lot of people, most people. And I've growing up in that community has been very important to me, and all the people that I came up with, and the elders as well. I owe a lot to that community. They're the villagers that raised me, and so I value them a lot outside of my work. And just any Muslim community that I'm in around within my vicinity, I value a lot. As well as that, I'm also a DREL fellow, so Deeply Rooted Emerging Leaders. They're a fellowship of Black Muslim youth that I'm a part of, and I've taken so much from them in terms of my learning and understanding, and also they've really helped in my personal growth and my understanding of everything, and I really value that. And then my family, I think the family is like one of the most important things to me. So whether it be like my a nuclear family, my mom and dad, my brothers and sisters, I spend so much. I spend an hour with them almost every day. Talking with them, going through. We go through religious texts together every day, and there's just a way to not just to go through that and learn, but also to just be together and have that time dedicated, even though that they're in the country abroad, and my brothers are scattered in the United States. So that family time is super important to me, and investing in each of my siblings and my parents. So, and then and just a part of also the Northwestern Muslim community, not just the ones that are currently in undergrad, but the alum. I've met so many alums that are outside of my my years. So people who graduated way before me, I've become good friends with, and taken a lot from, learned a lot from. And it's a community that I value as well. So yeah, just taking a lot from different people, different sources of inspiration, and different places I invest in.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's like a super well-rounded life. Like, you're an inspiring model where you have everything from a personal relationship with your fiance and all the next steps you're anticipating there, to your family life, to religious communities, to alumni networks. Like, this is a robust place of connection where you're finding a lot of meaning. Kudos on having all these connections and really fostering those relationships.
And it's very important at this time, especially because with COVID, I'm actually not physically seeing any of those communities that I'm part of, any of those friends, mostly alone in Massachusetts. So being able to try and connect with them has been a lot for me outside of my work. So yeah,
that's fantastic. I heard you reference earlier an academic advisor that was really influential. So I don't know if that advisor comes to mind or if also someone in addition, but who do you turn to when you're making career decisions? Yeah,
I have a lot of sources for my inspiration in terms of career. My fiance being one of them. She also is a biomedical engineer. Just so happens. So I take, we talk a lot about our, careers in life and purpose of it and what we're trying to achieve in this life. So I take a lot of advice and guidance from her. And I have a lot of mentors I've thankfully been able to foster over the last couple of years, especially during my time at my university, be it my academic advisor, Professor Guillermo Amir, as well as the Dean of Engineering at that school. She's someone that she's also the I guess, ambassador of some sort in terms of being connected to the National Society of Black Engineers, our chapter. She helps with them, and she's been a person that has brought hope to me even when I didn't really have hope in myself and belief in myself. She always, was a source of inspiration in that way. Yep, and also even I had mentors within National Society of Black Engineers and MSA at my university, whether it be Magan, actually, who I've talked to here and there. He's a friend of mine that was a senior when I was a freshman, and I was always able to talk to him about trying to finding that purpose. And yeah, there's been taking a little bit here and there from each of these people, as well as one of them being more random is an alum that he graduated in 2001, and he had an apartment that was near the university. So when me and my friends were trying to look for an apartment, he is like, "Oh, you guys can just have mine." We're like, "Okay." So he gave us the apartment to rent for those couple years. But in that time too, he's been someone that's very also involved in the community, the Muslim community there, and he's someone that ended up talking far beyond that and taking a lot of guidance from. Someone who's very in tune with his faith, very in tune with the type of work that he does. So I really appreciate all his guidance and mentorship as well. So it grew far beyond just some connection for getting a space to live for the year at school.
Yeah, he invested deeply, just like the dean of engineering invested deeply, and that is what so many of our research projects have pointed to is the value of trusted adults in the life of young people. That impact is enormous, and you are able to rattle off multiple people who have showed up at different seasons in your life, and it sounds like you're still able to check in with them and turn to them as well.
Yep. And it also just inspired me to try and be that person for people under me too. In trying to take on either mentorship programs or trying to connect with people like me, so I can help them learn what I learned without having to go through some of those experiences, or just to help guide them through the process.
Well, that connects well to this next question, because it's about personal growth, and so I hear you saying, here's how I've received people investing in me, this is how I want to invest in others. So yeah, you've kind of already illuminated some of these communities that have been so meaningful, and some of the trusted adults have been so meaningful. But is there anything particular that has helped you in personal growth through those communities that you could point to, whether that was with goal setting or self-discovery or self-improvement?
Mm-hmm. I believe I think there's never been just there's few moments of huge personal growth. It's really my personal growth has come from my different experiences through life and through different phases with the different people, the different friend groups, or different sources of inspiration. And just all those things have shaped me to who I am today. And also through all of those. And though one very I guess one that's really impacted me in recent memory has been the Drill Muslim Wellness Fellowship, and attending that and talking with people who Black Muslims in the U.S. who are around my age, who being able to connect with them on a very deep level and our understanding of our experiences, and uniting on that, and thinking about trying to that has shaped my understanding and what I want to do with my life a little bit too, and trying to see a focus on that. They're trying to figure out how the work that I'm doing not just helps anyone, but maybe I can try and find a way to contribute to serving those who are underserved, or provide resources for places that are under-resourced, and figuring out if there's a way for me to try and apply that in that way. So like things that I haven't really considered before, so it was a very, very valuable experience for me. And, it's, I'm looking from that to try and incorporate that into like my life goals and life plans. So that experience has shaped me, very, very much so. But yeah, I've gotten, another place of personal growth for me that can, identify as running, through cross country and track. While I haven't really connected with my coaches since then, they've left such an imprint in my life, and the way I go about things, the discipline and work ethic that I have utilized to for my school work, for my work, and even outside of work, just like everyday life. I've taken so many values from that. So that's also a place. To give other examples too, it's just my experiences, like with my family, and going. We are a huge family. I have 5 siblings. One older and 4 younger. And it was very chaotic years, and but I've learned so much from that, and learning to love despite everything, and growing from learning from each of them has been great for me. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I feel like all those examples you provided have duly impacted you in personal growth and professional growth. Like I don't hear a clear bifurcation from you of just, well, this person invests in, or this community invests in, my work, and this community invests in more my personal life or religious life. That there's a really beautiful intermingling I hear from you of just like this fellowship with the Muslim Wellness Foundation cultivated a sense of personal growth and professional growth. And I also get a sense of that from my family. And I also get a sense of that from these other networks and communities. So yeah, you sound like you have a very integrated life, which I'm excited for our readers and our listeners to have work life as we really listen to young people about what are they looking for in workplace settings, and where are they finding meaning and growth and mentorship. Well, it has been so helpful to hear your perspective and all the illustrations you provided today, Abdalla. Thank you for your time, for cheering you on to get that Boston Marathon entry qualification, and in everything with your career endeavors in the biomedical engineering world, and wherever that might take you, and the ways you're looking to continue to invest in spaces and in people coming after you. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
I know you had to get a lot from that conversation from Abdalla. I certainly did. And here to even make things more applicable is that tip from Dr. Josh Packard.
About a year ago at Springtide, we had the opportunity to do some of our first research with Gen Z in the organizations where they want to be affiliated with, whether it's through work or volunteer or education or any other kind of organization that they would want to uphold as proud to be a part of. And then we carried that research through to this study about work life, where we specifically looked at employment. And one of the really consistent findings that comes through from both of those studies, I mean, thousands of interviews, thousands of surveys now, and and scores of interviews is the importance of working at a place that has a solid sense of mission, that it knows that the organization and the leaders that are in charge of it know what they're, trying to do in the world beyond simply the transactional things that are necessary to keep the organization going, but what sort of impact are they looking to have? What's really interesting, though, about that is that young people often don't know what the mission of the organizations are. They sometimes even feel like their organization might not have any broader mission, or even a vision. And this is not all that uncommon across time and other age groups. So if we look into the management literature, what we find is that leaders tend to under-communicate their mission by a factor of 10. And I think this comes because largely as leaders, we know what the mission is. We know why we joined the organization, or in some cases founded the organization, started doing this work that we're doing. And we assume that everybody else is drawn to the organization for the same reason, or at the very least that they understand it as well. But so often they just don't. And as leaders, it's easy to think that we talk about it all the time, but often that message is not making its way all the way throughout your organization. So the tip here is to make sure you find ways to consistently convey what it is that you value, what the organization stands for, and what kind of impact you're trying to have in the world. It can't always be in the same way. It's not always going to be through a conversation or, through an email reminder or, some words stenciled on the wall when people walk into the building. But we've got to find unique and creative ways to both convey and demonstrate what the organization stands for. It's incredibly important for young people, especially if what you're trying to do after you spend all this time, attracting talented people to come and work for you is to keep them there. It's the mission that will keep them committed over the long haul. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Visit springtideresearch.org to hear more voices of young people and access our full study on young people's expectations and experiences of work, titled Work Life, Helping Gen Z Flourish and Find Balance. Sign up for our newsletter and be the first to learn about our upcoming research. Today's show was produced by Marta Abuaji and TJ Birnbaum, with original music by high school student Christian Unthank. Special thanks to our guest today and all the young people whose perspectives and insights make our research possible. Remember to find us on social media at We Are Springtide and learn more about our brand new Writer in Residence program at springtideresearch.org. Thanks for listening.